Hey guys, it's Steven here, back with another video. How are you all doing today? I hope you're well. I'm ready to talk about Liam Delap, a player that everyone absolutely loves talking about at the moment because he's a fantastic young footballer. But before I dive into the topic today, I want to say thank you to OneFootball, the wonderful app that's absolutely incredible, that so many people are enjoying for absolutely nothing. It's free, it's great, you can follow all the Manchester City news, and if there's any updates on Delap or the likes of Haaland or Grealish or Kane or whatever, you'll get it first straight to your phone via OneFootball. So go download OneFootball right now in the link in the description below so you don't miss out on anything from the world of Manchester City, and you get access to loads of wonderful stats about your favourite players as well. Go and do it. Go and follow Manchester City. Go and support my channel and click it in the link in the description right now and nourish and enrich your phone and your football knowledge. Go do it right now. But today anyway, I wanted to talk a little bit about Liam Delap's future. Now I did tweet about the idea of doing another video today after I did a video earlier, by the way, with Asan from the 9320 podcast. Go watch that. It's genuinely fantastic. I did one last week and I did another big transfer catch up today with Asan. There'll be a link on screen right now. Go watch that after you watch this video. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about Liam Delap and his future, because currently Manchester City are linked to loads of exciting forwards. The likes of Erling Haaland, of course, Harry Kane, Jack Grealish. He's a very good, he's attacker, but he's a forward as well. That makes sense. He gets forward and all that kind of stuff. Okay, he's not a striker. I said the wrong name there. But obviously the likes of Lukaku, Kane, Erling Haaland have all been linked. And there's been lots of talk around strikers this week because of the inevitable, in my opinion, inevitable departure of Sergio Aguero. It was painful when that announced, and obviously people started then to think towards the future. I'm still not over that, by the way, and I never will get over it. The only thing that helps a little bit is that glorious blue sky out there in Manchester today helps soothe some of the pain. But when you lose someone like Sergio Aguero, you start kind of thrashing around in the mud looking for the next potential replacement. Could it be our very own Liam Delap, or if we sign someone, the likes of Haaland, for example, what does that then mean for someone like Delap, who's a very similar player? It's a very big question, one I don't know the answer to. I know the people who probably do know the answer are Liam Delap, his agent, and Guardiola and Cheeky or whatever. But we can speculate and we can discuss what it might potentially mean. Now, one thing I will say about Delap, he's a fantastic footballer. Genuinely a fantastic, brilliant footballer. And we saw the rumours that Real Madrid are interested in signing this young player, which is crazy. Now, this came from a Daily Star journalist called Paul Brown. Nope, no idea. Honestly, I personally never heard of Paul Brown. Don't know if he's particularly reliable. I don't know. But it is the Daily Star. So it's very, very, very tempted to take this with the biggest pinches of salt, really. I mean, I'm not going to read too much into this. One thing I will say is that pretty much every top European club will be looking at Liam Delap because he's fantastic. He genuinely is seen as a special talent by Manchester City. So if he's seen as a special talent by Manchester City, their staff and the academy, then it's almost certain that every major club will be looking at Liam Delap and going, I fancy a bit of that, to be honest. He's a very good player. So I don't doubt for 1 second that they're all looking around at him and fancying it, especially considering his record this season. He scored 26 goals in 20 appearances for the academy sides this season and 5 assists. So that's 31 goals or assists in just 20 appearances. That is simply astonishing. He's also got 20 goals in, well, not also, involved in that record is 20 goals in 15 Premier League 2 games, which is a record at that level. That is quite astonishing. And if you watched him recently playing at that level, he seems to have also improved already since he's already brilliant at the start of the season. He's bagging goals after goal after goal. Seems to be getting a brace or a hat-trick in every single game. His physicality, his movement, his finishing, he is the complete striker at the level. An absolutely fantastic bulldozing natural goal scorer. He's been feeding brilliantly off the chances provided by the likes of McAtee, Adozie, Cole Palmer, Nemecha, and so on. He's a brilliant player. So of course, if you're breaking goal scoring records at under 23s level in the league, then people are going to want you. Now, what do we do with him? One thing I will say, and it's worth repeating, he is only 18 years old. It must seem like he's been around forever now because obviously lockdown amplifies things big. And it must feel like we want him to play straight away because, of course, we had some problems in front of goal at times this season, given though Aguero and given Jesus and Sterling missing some sitters and so on. But he is only 18 as of February. So basically he's been like... I think it was start of February, 2nd or something like that. I can't remember the exact date. But either way, he's barely 2 months into his 18th year, basically. So he's 19th year, I guess, technically. I'm not going to get into that. But either way, he's a baby in the grand scheme of things. So he's a kid. So I don't think he's expecting to start for Manchester City next season. I think he's realistic enough to know that getting into this team isn't going to be easy. But at the same time, it's not unfair to say that he will be looking at the potential signings and the age profile of those signings and going, how is that going to affect my chances? Because if you sign someone like Haaland, who is only young, only a couple of years older than him anyway, yes, of course, that makes it difficult because this guy could be in his potential place for 10 to 15 years quite easily, given how players can hang around at Manchester City for an awful long time. We know there isn't a high turnover of players, and we know that Haaland would potentially, if he came, would be here for a long time. So it's a fair question to ask from Delap potentially. Would I even get any game time at Manchester City? Now, having said that, once again, he's very young. It could be that we need 2 strikers. It could be that Gabriel Jesus ends up becoming more of a left winger or something like that. And it could be that he just decides that he's not a fan of that. I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to deny it. It could be that he looks at the Brahim and Sancho route and thinks I could go play somewhere else. Having said that, personally, I don't think there's any risk of that right now. I reckon what will happen with Liam Delap in terms of his future, I don't think he'll be at Manchester City next season. And I don't mean permanently, I mean on loan. I don't think he'll be here simply because it makes no sense for him to be here next season. If he stays around the first team, he won't play very much because Gabriel Jesus and obviously this other striker, fingers crossed it's Haaland or whatever, they'll be ahead of him by natural definition of being ahead of him, because they will be, because they're the big £100 million plus striker or whatever. They're going to be ahead of him because they'll need the games and because they're probably more ahead in their career. So he'll need to go somewhere because he's learned everything he can from the under-23s. If he's playing under-23 football next season, we've already failed him. He's already a record breaker at that level, so he needs to go somewhere. Now, where does he go? I've seen some people suggesting the likes of the Bundesliga. Something about him doesn't really strike me as a Bundesliga kind of player. I don't know why. It's just a gut instinct I get that he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would go there on loan. Having said that, he could definitely do it. And if he went there and he played regularly, I'd be delighted, because there's obviously no better league for him to test his credentials and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's literally a league that has kind of rubber-stamped City's interest in Haaland, so we know it's more than enough for City to warrant taking him seriously if he performs there. And of course, we've got a history of buying from that league as well, the likes of Kompany, De Jong, who else? Dzeko, obviously Kevin De Bruyne. So we know in general that we can sign players from that league and take them seriously. So a loan there would be fantastic. Though I do honestly think he'll stay a lot closer to home, especially given everything. I don't know, he just strikes me as the kind of guy who wants to be at home. And maybe I'm basing that on nothing, but I reckon he'll stay in the UK and get a loan, probably to a Championship side. Now, I would love to see him a loan to a Premier League side, but I can't see Manchester City trusting a Premier League side to play him. And I also don't think a Premier League side is necessary, really. I think the only thing we've got about Delap is a lack of experience. Now, I do think a loan to the Championship side, I know maybe someone like Bournemouth, if they go down, would be fine for him. As long as he's playing regularly and scoring goals next season in the Championship and getting physically ready for the Premier League, I'm fine with that. I don't think there's any massive rush. He's only 18 years old. He won't be 19 until most of next season's gone by as well. So he's still incredibly young and incredibly wet behind the ears. And I do think there are a few rough edges to iron out in his game. What I would love to see is Delap go somewhere and plays 40 games next season. Hopefully scores 20 plus goals, which I've got no doubt that he will do if he does play regularly, because he does have that quality to score those goals. And I want to see a player who learns essentially how to play against adults, because obviously we need to know if he can physically match it. We know he probably can, but you need to obviously see how his game translates to playing against professionals. We saw obviously a goal for the first team shows that he's got no problem putting himself about, but he needs to adapt to it, not just physically but also emotionally as well, because I think some of the doubts for Delap have come from him getting sent off an awful lot of time for the EDS, and I wouldn't be surprised if Guardiola sees him as a little bit too raw. Guardiola likes players who can stick to the game plan, who can be really reliable, and Delap, he's a bit of a hothead, and I do think he kind of played himself out of actually being involved a bit more with his kind of like pushing everyone about stuff and all that kind of stuff, and his couple of red cards for the EDS sides. I do think they look at him and go, he's a little bit hot-headed. Don't get me wrong, he's brilliant, but I do think they go, he needs to calm down a little bit and grow up and realise that you can't be doing that, because you'll get yourself sent off in the Premier League. Some wildly experienced centre-back will play you, and also it could cost us because we'll be down to 10 men. And Guardiola is a control thing, so we know this is a thing, but I I am not concerned about Delap's future. He's a brilliant player. He's got absolutely everything to his game. He can finish with both feet. He can finish in the air. He's fast. He's strong. He's fantastic, but you got to bear in mind it can take a little bit of time to get to the very, very top, but there's no rush whatsoever, and it's different for every single player. People will turn around and go, yeah, but if you took him seriously, he wouldn't go out on loan. We'd just have him with the first team like Foden did. But at the same time, it's not always the same route for every single player. Horses for courses and all that. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more calm. So for me, Delap, I reckon a loan next season is totally fine. More than enough. And then if he does perform, get him back in the first team the summer after to compete with the likes of Haaland. You know, that sounds crazy. If it's someone like Haaland, I don't know who it will be. But either way, regardless, he should be in the first team the year after, in my opinion, if he scores a load of goals in the Championship, because there's no doubts whatsoever about him then. Either way, Delap is absolutely brilliant. Guys, they are just my thoughts on Liam Delap. I'm not really asked about the Madrid link. I think it's probably nothing in it. I think it's probably true to the extent that every club's watching him, but I don't think he's going to be leaving any single time soon. And either way, if Delap's not involved next year, it probably means we signed a very good striker, so I'll take it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you to all the patrons currently scrolling down the side of the screen as well. Go down the OneFootball in the link in the description below. And also, I want to say thank you to my Patreon producer, Ahmed Al-Elite, absolute legend, supporting me at the highest tier. Thank you so, so much, Ahmed. And also, go watch that video I did with Asan. It's on screen right now. It's brilliant. Another 40 minutes of fantastic, if I don't say so myself, transfer talk about Manchester City. Like, comment, subscribe. In a bit.